Alright, so this is going to be my straight out of the movie review of Superman 2025. This is going to be the kickoff and the start of the new DCU, at least in the movie theaters. And let me say this off rip, I like the movie, man. I really did. I liked the movie. I think the movie was great. David Cornsworth plays Superman great. I feel like this is the Superman that everybody talks about, that they want hope, that they want to feel inspired, that they want to feel like this is someone who's going to save you. And there's a lot of instances in the movie where you see him saving and doing things that we haven't seen Superman do in a long time. Maybe from the Superman and Lois show that was on the CW, it's probably the closest I felt to a Superman that felt like the comics. But this one felt like not only the comics but the animated series, and it felt raw. It felt great. It was something that you walk out and you're just like, man, I need to see more of what happens with this universe and what happens with James Gunn and where he goes with the rest of the DCU. I have to say it does has its flaws. It's not a perfect movie, not in the least bit. Like I said, it's a B, but it's definitely not a C. I think the hate that comes from it, I could see why. But I still don't think it's enough to bash it or say anything negative. I think the mixed reviews make sense once you watch the movie. I feel like there's elements of James Gunn's style that still is very questionable to a lot of people who may not be up for that type of style and humor and direction that he takes with all the characters. That style seems to not be very much different from anybody that you see in the movie. It's like everybody has one style, one shtick, one way of being told and portrayed. And it's like, though the humor is there, not to say that it comes off like it's too much, but it does come off to the point where you're like, okay, I would like things to be a little bit more serious, and that's why I think people really are going to like better Henry Cavill's version, because I feel like Zack Snyder made a Superman that was not to be messed with, and literally lean into the whole I'm an unstoppable force, but I'm very humane, and that's what keeps me tame. With this one, it really talked about what makes a human, what makes you, what makes a person, and to take that route with Superman versus anybody else was an interesting take, and one that I think that should be highly rewarded for, because it was a different outlook on Superman the character. And I think it made him very hopeful. I think it made him very inspiring. And it literally lived up to the idea of him of being the model superhero that everybody else should follow and look up to. And he's definitely inspiring. I thought this was a great movie. I loved Lois Lane. This might be my favorite Lois Lane iteration. Let me not go without saying that. I think this might be my favorite Lois Lane iteration. And outside of that, I mean, Jimmy Olsen was awesome. There's a couple of people that didn't really get too much shine, but I figured as much. There's already a lot going on in the movie, and not character-wise, because I feel like the character percentage of them being in the movie really worked. I feel like it wasn't too cluttered, despite everybody that they kept naming that was going to show up and be in this movie. I feel like everybody had their time to shine, and it was properly portioned. But there is certain characters that didn't really get a lot of shine, but that's okay. They really didn't play too much in the movie, but it was good to have them in this universe, so that in later on in other versions or other movies or other TV shows, when these people come up, it's like, oh, okay, we never got introduced to them, what we did in this movie. And so moving forward, you'll see them a lot more. Like I said, Jimmy Olsen was awesome. I feel like this was the best Jimmy Olsen too. And it's funny because as much as we debate Superman, we don't debate the people that surround him all the time. And you can literally say that these are the best side character iterations from Superman. I have to say, I love Lois Lane, I love Jimmy Olsen. I love the dynamic. I feel like the trailers they didn't really do justice to this movie to make people who are skeptical about it feel better. But once you see it in context and see everything that's going on, you feel a little bit more better about some of the things that maybe you were questionable of, and it comes out very well and very well done. I would say off rip, this is definitely worth watching in theaters. I saw it in the IMAX. I would tell everybody to go give it a chance, go give it a watch. Get your popcorn, get your drink, enjoy it. This is the start of the new DCU, and I think it's off to a good foot. Like I said, the only negatives I would say about the movie is, like I said, the humor comes off a little bit misplaced in certain things. Though it's very light, there is some parts of the movie where you wish Superman was a little bit more serious, and when he is, it's done well. But I get the idea that people talk about he's a little bit more whiny, but I wouldn't say more whiny, I would say more passionate. I'd say this is a Superman that's very passionate about what he does, who he saves, what he stands for. And there's a twist that comes in this movie that I haven't seen done in other iterations that really bring home that fact of, like, we don't really get this much passion from a Superman about who he is and what he stands for, and it's really brought into question in a very unique way that I think a lot of viewers are going to either appreciate or be almost stunned at how well it's placed and spoken of, since we really haven't seen this subject talked about within Superman's mythos, I think, in live action, at least in live action. But outside of that, man, I love the movie. I think everybody's gonna love this. I would say this is a sport. I would say we could talk about some spoilers of it, but I feel like there's not enough stuff that you can spoil about the movie that's like a shock or twist. I feel like if anybody's doing spoiler reviews, it's just because they want to talk about points that they really love. For me, I really think you just need to go watch the movie. I think the movie is worth, buying the ticket, going to sit in there with your family and friends, eating your popcorn. So this is just my review. I'll come up with a spoiler review if I feel like it, but to be honest with you, I take my suggestion. It's a B+. It's worth the time. Don't wait for streaming. Go watch this. Live up to the experience that it was made for. James Gunn, we appreciate you. We thank you for what you've done. We look forward to seeing the DCU, and let's start moving forward. Let's start looking at the messages that were highlighted in this movie and see it as the reflection in the mirror that it was meant to be. We're all humans. We're all doing the best that we can. But just because we make mistakes, we're not perfect. We still can be hopeful. So this is my review. Check out the channel, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.